All right, welcome everyone to our weight loss workshop. We're probably going to be doing these monthly, so if you know of someone that needs to hear this information, then share it with them, and as well we can send them links because we're recording this. But have you ever heard of semaglutide or semaglutide? Have you ever heard of that?
I looked it up after you sent it.
Okay, so semaglutide is a weight loss medication that it actually is a medicine used for weight loss and to lower blood sugars. You've heard the commercial, Ozempic?
Yes.
That lowers your A1C, and it's for diabetics, for type 2 diabetics. What they found though, if they changed the dosing on that very same medication, it started to cause people to lose weight in a very controlled and even-tempered way, so that the studies that I'll get into in a minute showed this amazing transformation of people that actually did nothing to change their lifestyles. It literally was, you'll see the stats in just a second, but what they found is as they studied it more, it's a GLP-1 agonist, which increases insulin, good for the diabetic. It lowers glucagon, good for everyone, because it delays gastric emptying and reduces your appetite. So what does delayed gastric emptying mean when it comes to weight loss? It's quite simple. It causes food to stay in your stomach for a little bit longer period of time so you do not eat more. That's how it controls your appetite. So the studies have shown that when you eat food, it sits in your stomach, in the pyloric part of your stomach. All these stomach acids start working on that food, and then it gets dumped right into the duodenum, and then all the nutrients are starting to take from it. Because after it passes from your small intestine into your large, it's waste. Your body's not absorbing as much of it anymore. It's just passing through you to the end result at that point. So it causes it to stay in your stomach before it dumps into your duodenum a little bit longer. And what they noticed was that people weren't eating as much, and so they started to lose weight naturally and healthily. So how much weight could a person lose? Here's what it actually showed. At the end of the day, people lost 15% of their total body weight without any major lifestyle changes. 15%. This was in a 6-month period. 15%. So if I'm simple math, easy mind here, I weigh 100. But I'm only this tall, so I'm really overweight, right? So I weigh 100. In 6 months, by doing nothing but this product, I lost 15 pounds. If I weigh 200, I lost 30 pounds. No lifestyle change. I see everybody nodding, and it's like, it's too good to be true. Well, let's look at how true it is. Here is the actual study. So they took 2,000 obese non-diabetic patients, right? So these are not people that are already on Ozempic. Most people that are diabetics, they get on these types of medicine, lose a little bit of weight, and they go, yeah, I know it works, because it worked when I was taking it for diabetes. And diabetics can take this, by the way, both type 1 and type 2, but it won't help the type 1 whatsoever. They still have the insulin supplement. But it's an injected semaglutide. To 2,000 people, they took this semaglutide every week, and some people call it semaglutide. I don't know how to say it because it's written both some places. It's spelled out both phonetically. They participated in minimal diet and exercise program. So basically what they said is these 2,000 people that were overweight, they said half of you, actually 2/3 of you, are going to get this injection every week, and we don't want you to change anything else, and we're not even telling you what it's about. The other third, we're just going to give you this placebo injection, and we're not going to tell you what it's about, and we're not going to change anything of your working out or your dieting or your fasting or anything like that. So this 2,000 people all got the same injection every week, except 2/3 of them were getting semaglutide, and 1/3 of them were getting a saline nothing injection. Does nothing to you whatsoever. And what it said was that the people that got the actual injection of semaglutide lost significantly more weight than those that got the placebo. In fact, half of the semaglutide group, half of that 2/3, were able to lose 15% of their body weight in that time frame, and 1/3 lost 20% of their body weight. So I've actually seen this before. In the placebo group, they lost 2.4% of their starting weight. Because they didn't do anything different, and they didn't get any medication. That was the only difference in these two groups of people. So how do you take it? It's an injectable. It's a self-given, self-administered, injectable, just like you would take a testosterone. If you're on hormone replacement therapy, it's not a pellet insertion. It's nothing like that. It's simply squeezing up a little bit of subcutaneous fat and going. And everyone kind of freaks out about that. But let me tell you, I've personally been doing this for the last 9 weeks, and I was like, I'm never getting a shot, and then I gave myself 1, and then I gave myself 2, and now I'm like, I almost brought it in here to give it today in front of y'all, just so you wouldn't freak out when you see that it's an injectable. It's a 27 gauge needle, and you don't even feel it going in. You go stick, push, pull it out. Okay, I think I gave myself a shot. Yeah, it looks like it went in. Like you don't feel it. So it's pretty easy to do. So when I started with, this can change your life. There's actually some people that it's drastically changed their lives, because this thing about 1.5 years ago went really, really viral on the internet because of one famous family. Any guesses as to who that famous for doing nothing family is?
Yeah, I
There she is. She was the poster child for this drug for a long time. She lost about 60 pounds in 1.5 years. And if you've seen her now, she don't look like the same person, because she changed all of this at the same time with a bunch of fillers and stuff. But here's another huge drastic change. Are you familiar with this guy? In all kinds of movies, right? The newest movie that just came out on Netflix, it's #1. It's called You People. Very good movie. He looks like this guy now. In all his other movies, he looked like that guy. He did semaglutide. How about this one? Your favorite teenage witch. This is just 3 that I could have found 30, because it swept through Hollywood like crazy. In fact, it's sweeping across the country like crazy so fast that they're having distribution issues of the name brands of this product. And it's starting to now affect diabetics. Some diabetics will go off on you, like, don't be taking that for weight loss, I need to stay alive. And I'm like, well, what's more unhealthy? Like, if you don't lose some weight, you're gonna be a diabetic anyway, so you might as well take it, because we have a solution to that. What's the cost? Has anyone ever looked up the cost of semaglutide? Does anybody have GoodRx? The app? Get out your phones real fast. Look up GoodRx.
Trulicity's the same kind of thing, yeah?
Do what?
Trulicity?
Trulicity's similar. It's not used for weight loss at all, though.
No.
If you got the GoodRx app, just open up the app and then type in, do a search, and the medication is called Wegovy. 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 Anybody?
$13.91.34.
$1,391.94. And that's from where? 34.
CVS.
CVS. What's it at Walmart? Because they're always cheaper.
1407.
No, 1407.
63 cents.
That's for a 1 month supply. That's for 1 milliliter of this stuff. 1 milliliter. That's 1 syringe full. That's 100 units. That's what it costs right now, $1,400. Because it's swept the market and they flooded it and they can't get it now, it's hard to find. The sourcing is bad. If you go to most pharmacies, they say we're out. Check back in a month. Okay, and also they have this real fancy setup to where when they give it to you, it's an injectable, one-time use, and you don't have to do anything. And you pay an extra $1,000 for that shot because it's got an injector with it, right? And so forget all that, because I got good news for you. It is not $1,400 a month, and that's if you can find it. It's actually much, much cheaper, and I'll show you how. So how do we start? We start with labs. Everyone has to get a lab, because what we need to know is if your thyroid is functioning right and if your hormones are completely out of whack. Because if those 2 things are bad, you will struggle with the weight loss in Wegovy or semaglutide generic the whole time you're on it. Because these 2 things are going to control your metabolism more than anything else. So once you get ruled out that your thyroid is in good shape, then you get ruled out that your hormones are not a wreck, then we can actually give you some help with that. Full disclosure, when I started getting on a product, I was going to get on testosterone to start with, because my testosterone was low. I'm 50 years old. Your testosterone as a male starts decreasing 1 to 2% in production starting at about age 25. So 25, fast forward to 50, my testosterone is less than half of what it was when I was 25. And I feel it. I don't sleep good at night. I take naps during the day sometimes. I have trouble losing belly fat. I have low energy, libido starting to subside. And so I was like, okay, I got to do something. So I got my blood work done. It came back that my thyroid was 1 point low. It was like 3.5 instead of 4.5. And so I got on 1 grain of a product called Armor Thyroid, and it is a bioidentical thyroid hormone that does not do anything like thyroxine or the other ones that are synthetic that have issues with that cause side effects. It actually is a product that it's replacing the thyroid that I'm supposed to be producing by my thyroid gland. And so I got that up 1 point in about 5 or 6 weeks, taking this teeny tiny, like it's smaller than it's like smaller than a Tic Tac, the pill I take. If you chopped up a Tic Tac in thirds, that's how big this pill is. So that was for me, and it made all the difference in the world because it started to ramp up my metabolism. So the labs that I'm talking about, it's a complete hormone replacement therapy profile. For women, it's called something different. It's called a pre-pellet hormone panel, and it's got everything in it. It's got a metabolic panel that shows all the thyroid function. It shows your lipids and your cholesterol and all that. Vitamin B12, vitamin D3, those are hugely important because that's where a lot of energy comes from. If you're not getting the proper vitamin B12, you can supplement that and it'll bump your metabolism up as well. A CBC, which is a complete blood count, shows if you have inflammation in your body, if your white blood cells are being produced because of sickness or whatever. A lipid panel, which that's actually the cholesterol, the LDLs, the HDLs. Cortisol, which is very important in sleep. When you're high stressed, your cortisol goes down and you don't sleep well, and then you don't produce more cortisol at night, and it's a vicious cycle. And then there's progesterone, and that is a $2,000 test. I have in my hand a copy of mine, just so you know that it's not just a little test. It's got all kinds of the information on it that you would need in order to make a good decision about your health. So that's a $2,000 test, and let me tell you, yeah. So I mentioned earlier that some people did nothing at all on this thing. They only took during the study, the FDA study, they only took the medication. That was the one difference between the two people groups. And then it said some people lost 20%. Well, they went back later and said, how did some people get a bump of 5% of body loss in 6 months compared to the others? And they said it was because they followed a protocol of drinking 80 ounces of water a day, that they just happened to be doing that, and the other groups were not. They didn't change anything, they were just doing that already. And the water helped them tremendously on this medication. They also talked about eating lean and green as opposed to fried, fatty, fast foods all the time, right? And then the third one was they had recommended some sort of movement, increase your movement. And it didn't say join a gym and lift weights. It didn't say become a fitness expert. It said move more. That was in the study. So I put together the compounding effects protocol. And if you will do this, in addition to the shots, you'll get a better than 15% result. And the proof's in the pudding. We have patients now that are well on their way to it. I got a text today from one of our patients because as a patient, you get access to me and I can answer questions, and if I don't know the answer, I can get you the answer really quickly. But I got a text directly from a patient today, and she said, I'm doing great. I've been on for 4 weeks, and I've lost 10.3 pounds. And that's perfect, smooth, non-yo-yo. That's not a crash and I lost 30 pounds, because when you do that, your metabolism is going to go out of whack, and as soon as you stop, the day you stop, it comes back. It's literally that kind of thing. And there is a disclaimer. All programs have a tendency to not work if you get off of them and do all the things wrong that you did to put on extra weight in the first place. It's not going to be bulletproof for the rest of your life, and now I can eat and live how I want and be skinny because I have this magic pill. No, this magic pill does a lot on its own, but if you can learn through the process of what you're eating that's wrong and how you're doing what you're doing that's wrong, and this is that stubborn first 10, 15 pounds to get you started, or maybe it's the last. When you say, I've done all this work and I've been working so hard, Dr. Tim, and I'm now 6, 8 months into this and I still got like 15, 20 pounds to lose. This will make you lose it in a month, like literally. So that's the talk on that. And then I have one more here because I know that someone's going to ask, and I'll answer that in a second, but it is the side effects of the semaglutide that I printed out for today. That's $109 at any LabCorp location. That $2,000 lab test, we have a deal with them because we're in this network of lots of providers that send to the same lab. So I'm in this little, it's kind of like a PPO, but it's not. It's called a preferred management. MPO, Managed Preferred Organization. Anyway, I'm in with a bunch of other doctors. We went in together as a group and said, let's get the best deal for our patients, and they come down to $109. You can't get that off the street. You can't walk into a LabCorp and get that. But we have a deal with them so that if you pay $109 to the provider can send you a lab requisition in the email, and you can take that lab requisition and go to any LabCorp as long as it's not a LabCorp that's connected to a hospital. The hospital LabCorps are individually owned labs. They're not LabCorp. So LabCorps in Carrollton, there's one at Walgreens on Frankfurt and Josie. That Walgreens has a lab in it, like they have Doc in the Box where you go if you need a COVID test or something crazy. Well, you can go in there without an appointment and get labs drawn. It took me about 40 seconds. I went in, they said, have you fasted? I said, yes. They said, boop, 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 boop. You're done. I walked out, literally on a lunch break one day before lunch. So it is a fasting test because they want to look at lipids, they want to look at all those cholesterol numbers and that sort of thing. So the lab can be done at any LabCorp. I would probably recommend that you get online, labcorp.com, and search locations near me, put in your zip code, and it'll show you the 6 or 7 around you. Then click on the one you want to go to, and then do an online schedule. Because I went back for repeat labs, and they were busy. And there were people standing around in Walgreens, and I was like, is everyone waiting on this one doctor in here? And so I was about 10th in line, and it took about 2.5 hours. So I was like, I don't want to do that again. But I could have easily gone, I want 11 o'clock, boom. And when I walk into Walgreens at 11, I skip all those people that are waiting because they didn't have an appointment. So there's a work around that. But that's what it is. It's $109 at any LabCorp. You don't pay them. In fact, when you go and check in, you have to scan your ID on the kiosk outside of the LabCorp. And when you scan it, it pops up and says, we have your lab requisition on hand. Because when we generate it, it lets LabCorp know that you're coming. And then if you don't go, then we start hounding you going, look, you paid $109 for labs, go get your labs done. Like, it's still good, but go get it done. So when you scan that thing and it tells you, it asks you how you're going to pay. And one of the options is you're going to pay today at LabCorp. And then the bottom option says, I've already paid a provider for this. You click that and they go, great. They know that anyway. They know it's on the lab rec. But that's what I just remember because I did it. And that's what it looked like. The initial consultation with the provider. So it takes about a week to get all the labs back. Now sometimes they're slow, meaning they don't have a lot of labs to read, and we get results back tomorrow. You've got your stick today and we get results tomorrow. But most of the time they start to come in slowly to us. Like the CBC is a quick, easy test. We get the CBC results tomorrow. And then the next day we get a lipid profile and the hormone stuff. And then the next day we get this. And then finally the last day we'll get your testosterone levels or something. And it might take 4 to 5 days. We usually say it's about a week. Then what happens is we give those results to our provider, and our provider goes over them, and then she sets up a call with you. And I said call because you don't have to come back in here and do anything in here. This is not a consultation face-to-face. This is an over-the-phone telemedicine type of thing. It doesn't go through anybody's insurance. In fact, insurance won't cover these labs, and insurance won't cover this semaglutide. Like they will if you have diabetes and you're taking it for diabetes, but then you've got a different protocol and you don't lose as much weight. So that is the consultation that you get, and then thereafter it costs $199 to be on the program, right? And so you're at $109, and then it's $199 monthly, but the first month you get this bulk dose. Actually, the first shipment that you get is 2 months supply. So it like at the Wegovy in the Walgreens or the Walmart, it would be $3,000. We ship you those 2 months for $699. That's the first 2 month shipment and all the protocol of how to do it, along with the compounding effects protocol. And then you get a bunch of calls and emails and encouragement and stuff from us reaching out to you, make sure you're doing it right, and see that you've started, and then you pick the same day and you give yourself a shot every single week at that time. And those types of things. And if you happen to be on a thyroid, then you're taking that daily. If you happen to be on some sort of hormone cream because your hormones are jacked, then we're making sure that you're doing all of that. And then we answer any questions by text. And like I said, all of this can be done via telemedicine from the comfort of your own home. In fact, you would not have to have come here today except for to learn about it. You could have called our office and said, I'm interested in getting labs done. We just said, what's your email address? What's your name? Give us your credit card. Run it for $109. Hang up, email, boom, you got it. Go to LabCorp as soon as you fasted for 6 hours. That's how easily it's done. And so the special offer that we're having, because we're getting this ball rolling, we have several dozen patients on this product and all have lost weight. But across the nation, and my providers that I'm in this group with that's sending labs, they've been doing it for a year and they have hundreds of patients. And I said, I really want to know, show me the patients that have not done well on it, and no one can produce anyone. Everyone's lost weight on this product. It's 100%. Now, if you're the one, then I'm telling you, there's no guarantee here. You would make our stats go down. That's all that would be. But it does work. It definitely works, and the proof is in the pudding. When you get on it, you start seeing it work. Let me talk about side effects real fast, because there are some. Because I knew somebody's thinking, what about this? I don't like medicine. Dr. Tim, you're supposed to be all natural. This is about as natural as you can get. But it says, these are the very rare, but some of the more serious side effects that have ever been reported. Visual changes, mood changes, fluttering heartbeat, and that's on any low-calorie diet, you're gonna feel that. Lightheadedness. Now, if you ever have a lump in your neck and you have a thyroid issue, that's one of the reasons we do the labs, because we're looking at your thyroid condition. And if you have a thyroid tumor or susceptible to that, then you can't be on this at all. Symptoms of pancreatitis, which is back pain, nausea with or without vomiting, gallbladder problems, which is upper stomach pain. There's a lot of stomach and there's a lot of head. Like there's headaches and feelings of lightheadedness, and then there's stomach and pain in your stomach and nausea and vomiting and weakness. And then it says urinating less frequently. That could be one of the serious ones. And they put these in their own category because most people don't experience these, but they have been reported. And whether they were exactly by this medication or the combination of this with whatever else they were taking, they got some of this reply. But the main ones it says is that there will be an upset stomach or heartburn, burping, gas, or bloating. There will be nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, loss of appetite, diarrhea, constipation, flu-like symptoms of headache, dizziness, and tiredness. Now, in our experience, the people that have had those side effects has been very, very, very few. But the ones that did, they were dosing it too high. This is a titrated type medication. It starts at a very, very low dosage. In fact, it starts at 10 units. I wish that, could you bring me a diabetic syringe? They're in the back. Just ask Shakora and she can grab it.
Okay.
I'll show you what a diabetic syringe looks like. It's about this big and it's smaller than a pen, smaller than this right here in circumference. And 10 units is about that much of that much, once a week. 10 units. And then after about 2 to 4 weeks, you bump up to slightly more. And then after 2 to 4 weeks, you bump up to slightly more. And some people never get past the third bump because they're losing weight and they feel fine. And if they go real fast, like their mentality is, oh, I lost 6 pounds in those 2 weeks. If I double up on my dosage, I'll lose 12. No, that doesn't work. That'll just give you a headache. All right, so here's a diabetic needle. Thank you, ma'am. And you can see that it's, can you see the needle? Yeah, it's a little, poke yourself though.
Yeah.
But,
Put your glasses back on.
So, yeah, from there to there, from there to there is 100 units. And we're talking about 10 units to start with, right? And so it's a very, very low dosage, and that's what will prevent those side effects in most cases. Every time I've heard of someone going, yeah, I tried that and I got a headache. I said, well, what protocol do you use? Oh, we use the Ozempic protocol. Okay, you started at like 60 units. Okay, we start at 10 here. You get to 60 by about month 2 or 3, right? So you just don't need it. Because in fact, some people lost weight at the lowest dosage and never bumped it up. Because if you're losing weight and your appetite is feeling suppressed and you're seeing the results after 3 or 4 weeks, you're going, wait a minute, I've lost 4 or 5 pounds now and I didn't do anything different. I'm just weighing myself every day. Then don't bump it up. Don't think, oh, I've got to get more, because you're doing good. That's the way it should work. But the special that I have going on, because everyone took time out of their schedule to come up here and get in this hot room that the air is not flowing very well in, is we're having a special. So if you sign up for the labs and you say, I want to do it, if I haven't answered all your questions, then I'll stick around and answer all your questions, because I want you to be able to make a solid decision and say, I've heard enough to make a decision. If you haven't, then that's fine. I'll help you. But you'll get $100 off the first 2 months. Remember I said the first 2 months is $6.99? Well, it's actually $5.99. You sign up for the $109 labs we send a lab requisition to you. That's all we collect, is that 109. And then when we get your labs back and we figure out what's wrong with you or what's good about you or all the results of that, and we say, here's the protocol and here's the medication and here's the prescription for it, we're gonna have it sent to you. At that point, you would pay $6.99 and you'd get 2 months worth. And then in 2 months' time, later than that, you'd start paying $199 monthly. And you'd do that every month that you wanna stay on the product, because we send you a month at a time. And the good part is I didn't even go into the details of this, but I talked about how hard it was to get at Walgreens and Walmart. We have a compounding pharmacy. It's out of Pensacola, Florida, and they have unlimited supply because they get the raw semaglutide from China, where every medication in our country comes from, but they don't get it in an injectable, single-use, throw-out $1,000 piece of equipment. It comes in a bottle that you turn upside down, and you take this needle right there and you stick it in there and you draw out 20 milliliters, and you stop and you poke yourself and go, right? So you administer it yourself at home. But we send it directly from that compounding pharmacy to you, not even through our office. It doesn't come to us. It doesn't come through us. It comes from that lab with our prescription. Our prescription writing facility will do that. So you get that at your house, you get a box in the mail, and you get all excited, right? You open it up, you go, what do I do first? Oh, he told me about some shots and needle, and I don't know what to do. Well, then you get an email that has a video from me saying, you should have gotten your box. Here's what you do.
Jack in the box.
Open it up
Right.
and draw it out like this, and then it has a video of me doing it. And it's very, very, very simple, very easy to follow. Like, I have people that I never met except on a phone call and a video chat that are in another city. Now, they have to be in Texas for us to write the script, even though that pharmacy is in Florida. The patients that we serve, according to our licenses, have to be in Texas. But they can be anywhere, and Texas is big. So 10 hours away, and I'm on the phone with them going, did you get your box? Yeah, I got my box. Well, here's your email that says how to do it. And then I call them a couple weeks later. Are you doing it? Yeah, I do it every Monday. We're 2 weeks in. I've lost 1 pound. I've lost 2 pounds. I've lost 14 pounds. Like, we've had crazy swings of the pendulum, and that's where I come in and say, hey, here's what we can do to help speed it up. And then we don't want to speed it up too much. We don't want you to lose 30 pounds. We want you to lose 30 pounds in 6 months, not in 30 days, right? So it's $5.99 for that first round of 2 months worth of semaglutide, and then it's $1.99 a month after. So you're going to save the $100 just by taking action and doing this. Now let's open it up for questions. Now, if you have a question, be sure it's not worded in a way so that it's not a HIPAA violation. A HIPAA violation is when everyone at a doctor's office gets to hear about your symptoms when they should be private. So you could say, okay, Dr. Tim, what about a person who may be dealing with this? How would you answer that? Because that's not saying, Dr. Tim, I have this in my family. How would I treat me? That would be a HIPAA violation. So I'll warn you if there's a HIPAA violation, because I don't want to commit one.
But if you fail,
If you fail,
yeah, if
Then-
there's something wrong.
if
then
there's
you
something
say
wrong and
you
you,
can't
yeah,
do it.
so that'd be very rare, because there's only a couple of things that say you can't do it. And it's a history of pancreatitis, it's a history of thyroid tumors, or it's a precursor to tumors. Like a person says, I've never been diagnosed with it, but I've had a lump right here for the last 3 weeks. We wouldn't even start them on it. That would be contraindications to it. And then if there was something rare that came up, that's a great question, we would have an alternative of a product for you that wouldn't be quite as good as semaglutide, but there's other products that we can do appetite suppression and curbing of your appetite without getting into the heavy phentermine type of product that makes you jittery and crazy, kind of going all sympathetic nervous system kicking in all the time. That's not good for you, so we don't do that. Any other questions?
All right, you start off at 10 cc's or whatever?
Yep.
Okay, and as time goes on, you
Yep.
do this for 6 months,
Yep.
and you're up to 50 cc's. How many cc's do you get a month?
You get enough to cover what you're at.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the price
We
goes
monitor
up?
that. You're
Okay.
talking with our providers all the time, and so you're saying, we're calling you saying, okay, it's week 6, and you've been on it now, and you have 8 weeks worth. We need to order your next 4 weeks worth. What doses are you at? I'm at this. Are you doing good on that? Okay, you tell me, how's it feeling? I'm feeling great, or I'm struggling. I feel like I'm still hungry all the time. Okay, we're gonna bump you up a little bit, so for the next month, you're gonna take this amount, and here's enough to cover that.
And the price stays the
Price
same.
stays the same. Price stays the same. Because like I said, we're getting this so much underneath that $1,400 price. I could literally buy 15 milliliters for about $1,600. 15 milliliters. What you're getting from Walmart is 1 milliliter for $1,400. But it's because of the group buying efforts of, we use a pharmacy called Hollandale Pharmacy. And I know the rep personally. He runs a big low T clinic in Atlanta, Georgia, and he says, you can get it at this price. And I'm like, I looked into doing that, I can't even get it. And he's like, no, you can get it at this price. You can sell it to your patients cheaper than you can buy it from another place. So that's what we're doing. We're passing along those savings. Great question, because it will rank up. Yes, ma'am?
What if someone's already on taking insulin for diabetes?
Insulin for diabetes is no problem. That doesn't have an effect on us. The only thing that, some doctors will say, oh, we don't get into this stuff if you're diabetic in type 1 anyway. But this is not a replacement for insulin. You would not change anything about your insulin. You would keep taking it because that's what's controlling your diabetes, and then you would take this weight loss. But people that are type 2 diabetic, they come in all the time and they say, I'm already on Ozempic. And we say, okay, well, let's mess with your doses and get you on a Wegovy protocol, which is the protocol we use here, the safest. And it might change what they're taking and how they're taking it, but all of a sudden they go, oh, thank you so much. My insurance was paying, $1,000 a month, and I was still paying $250 to get my Ozempic. And now I switched over to generic semaglutide, and I'm getting it for, my whole year is only costing whatever, a few $1,000 or less. So, great question. Type 1 diabetics, they're on insulin, they need to stay on it. Type 2 diabetics, they're controlling their diet, and this will help because they'll lose weight and they'll be less likely to have a bunch of diabetic symptoms. Questions?
So, with that being said, what do you do with a patient that is already taking 2 types of diabetes, type 2?
It depends on what they are.
Okay.
Yeah, so during the consult, we would go over that with you for sure. We would look at all your baseline of meds, of your meds and the lab results, and we'd say, okay, she's already on this, and this is very much like this, so we need to change that. Most likely you would know if you're on an Ozempic or a Wegovy or a, what's the other one, Rybelsus? There's 3 main ones that.
Metformin? What about
Metformin is not one of these types of drugs at all, no.
Is that something that you would recommend if someone decided to do the program, to have a conversation with their doctor?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, we always recommend that. And these days the doctor would go, good luck finding it, that's great stuff. I'm serious. Yeah, they don't have the compound pharmacy that I do.
Is there like a online journal where you track your weight and everything? Something you just do on your own?
You just do on your own. Like we've come up with like spreadsheets for people and help them out if they just are stuck. But this day and age, you get on any Google search or any search engine and say, I need something to track my calories. Boom, you'll get 100,000 choices. Which one was prettiest? Print that one. Okay, good.
Right.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay, so like I said, you got to take action. What I have in my hand here is some clipboards that actually have a few questions. It says your name, your phone number, your address, and your email address. Those are the top 4. If you've already filled one of these out recently in my office, or you haven't changed since the last time you were in my office, write same. You don't have to write it all out again. If there's any updates, reviews that need to be made, please do that. Then it says my current weight, and there's a blank, and then it says my target goal weight. Because this is not the product if a person comes in here and says, I'm trying to lose that last 7 pounds, Dr. Tim. You're not qualified. You got to have a body mass index in the obese range, right? So what's your target weight? Then it says mark all that apply. I want to get labs at a discounted rate of 109. Check it. I want the weight loss program for a discounted price of $5.99 for the first 2 months, $100 off, and will therefore order the labs today. Check that one. I'm interested in getting an appointment at no charge, and this one would be face-to-face, for any other problems or issues that I'm having, musculoskeletal wise. Like you go, this is great and all, but my knee hurts all the time. We do that here too, right? So I'm gonna pass these out. Raise your hand if you want one. If you don't, I'll skip you. All right, there. And what we'll do I got some more, I think I have enough for one, and I have a pen here too, if you don't have one. You want one over here? Alright. One for you, one for you.
So it'll be $709 today.
Nope, it'll be 109, because we're not charging you for any kind of medication, because we don't know if you're gonna get on it or not. That's for the medicine, right? You want one, sir? One over here? Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Alright, quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Whatever you just did labs today,
What was the
Do you have to
question?
take the labs there?
You're not getting labs
Or
today.
can we have them at a doctor's office?
no, I'm saying, what if you just did labs today?
Then, you
Just
would
did it.
send us the results.
Okay.
And we'd make sure that it has everything we need to see. And if there's one lab in there they didn't get, they left out your thyroid, we'd send you for a lab for a thyroid profile. It'd actually be cheaper than 109. Yeah, yeah. But the labs can't be done at a doctor's office with this script. Like you can't pay me 109 and me give you the lab rec, and then you take that to a doctor and go, this is what I need, and then draw your blood and do it. It has to be done at LabCorp.
No, I'm just wondering, you know.
That you already have resources.
I just got stuck today. So.
We do that often, like people come here, if they're within the last 30 days or so, there's not a whole lot of changes. Your thyroid didn't go out of whack in 30 days, you know? So, you can turn that off, signing out.
If we signed up